From the heartland of America to every nation on earth, this is Jack Van Impe Presents The Truth in News and Commentary. Here now are Doctors Jack and Rexella Van Impe.
Hello and welcome to Jack Van Impe Presents. One of our board members was in Toronto, Steve Ross, with his wife Jackie, and they witnessed the first headline that I'm going to give to you. Toronto locks down for G20 Summit. Also, the CIA chief warns that Iran could have nukes ready by 2012. It's so soon, isn't it, friends? And Times Square planner says it's a war. It's a war. Those are his exact words. We're going to delve very deeply into those headlines and so very, very much more. But before we get into the headlines, I couldn't help but just want to share this cartoon that Jack gave to me. It really brought a smile to my face, and I think you'll get a chuckle out of it also. She's saying, if you don't stop talking about your first wife, I'm going to start talking about my next husband.
Oh, that's good.
I like that, Jack. You always got a good joke for us.
And talking about marriage, I heard about this man who was about to get married, so he went to the minister and said, I'll give you this $100 above what I'm going to pay you for the ceremony if you will leave out that part about loving and cherishing and forsaking all others till death do us part. And they said, well, I'll think about it. But he took the $100 and says, I'll hold it until I've made up my mind. Well, the big day came, and the minister came to that part where he looked at the groom and he said, Sir, will you love, honor, and obey this lady until death do you part? Will you clean the house with her? And will you not only forsake all others, but will you never again look at another woman until God calls you out of this life? And man, he was frustrated. He said, he said, I do. Well, he saw the minister after. He said, why did you do that to me? He said, sir, here's your $100 back. Your wife gave me $200 to say what I said for you.
A very smart lady, don't you agree?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, well, we'll get into our program right now. And, you know, I want us to keep the people down in the Gulf Coast in our prayers. They need it so much. On top of the oil disaster in the Gulf, the hurricane season has already started, and what a tremendous beginning it's had, as they predicted. They did predict it's going to be very, very strong this year. Alex spins to Category 2. Now, the hurricane has been very strong early in June, as they said. Tourism could be damaged for years. As I mentioned, keep these people in your prayers, and may our government help them to get out of this situation in a hurry. It's gone on too long. Toronto locks down for G20 Summit. There we have it. I mentioned that up front. And protests rocked Toronto despite security. Oh my, there were nearly 600 arrested. 600. Obama and the Fiscal road to hell. Now, the G20 leaders don't agree with the president that more spending will revive the economy, nor do most Americans. And here's somebody who disagrees with him. Merkel of Germany rejects Obama's call to spend. She said, no, we will find another way. And USA Today, European nations show way toward fiscal responsibility. There we have it. And U.S. jobs picture darkens, and the payrolls shrink for the first time. It's going down, down, down. National Review, $130 trillion. What we owe, and look who's holding his head. The little children. They are going to have to pay for this. $130 trillion. All right, here is a cartoonist. They always enter into what's going on, and our president speaks. These poll numbers look pretty good. Well, that's the public's anger level.
Wow.
Anger level. well, I think that's pretty expressive, don't you? Let's back up. Please keep those people in your prayers and ask God to work out a solution as to how the government can help them get back on their feet. They need our help. The oil spill and the hurricane that just happened down there, the combination of both. Jack, can you put them both together for us from the Bible?
2 Timothy 3:1, this know also that in the last day perilous, dangerous times shall come. Now, after we are raptured, after hearing the come up hither, Revelation 4:1, and we sweep through the heavenlies in the twinkling of an eye, 1 Corinthians 15:52, 21 judgments come upon the earth. But praise God, we are gone. And you find those in Revelation chapter 6 to 18, and one of them is something happening in the sea whereby a fire is created and it destroys 1/3 of sea life. That's exactly what Revelation chapter 8 verse 8 says will happen. I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. But it gets worse in Revelation 16:3, where it says every living creature in the sea died. And they tell us through this plus 415 dead zones. And some of those are 15 miles long, 5 miles wide, and 3 feet thick. It could destroy all sea life. Hey, Revelation 16:3, every living creature in the sea died. They're already predicting these things are going to come without knowing what the Bible has to say about it. And then, of course, this thing in the G20. Folks, there's a dissatisfaction in the European Union now, which I believe will evolve into the New World Order. And they're really upset about the financial system. And here's our president talking about just spending, use it as fast as you can. But 5 of the major nations says that's the wrong way to go. We're not going to do it. We don't want to bankrupt our nation. But our president was adamant. He would not change his mind. And you know, that's a picture of the Bible again. In James chapter 5, verses 1 to 4, it says, go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. They're wailing. Why? Because in verse 4, they've heaped great treasures together, and now they're losing it all. And Revelation 18, verse 17, pictures why. In 1 hour so great riches has come to naught. And what's going to come through all of this financial trouble is what's been planned at the Bilderberg meeting for 2017 to microchip every human being according to Revelation chapters 13 verses 16 to 18. He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or forehead, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number of his name. And here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of this world dictator. And the number is 666, 666. We are headed for that hour. But remember again, when it comes, we've been evacuated.
You know, Jack, I'll tell you what, they spent $1 billion in Toronto to protect the G20. I think that shows
600 arrested.
Yeah, public level of anger there.
We had 20,000 socialists meeting here last 2 weeks. And believe me, we could have had a horrendous riot, but we were able to keep it under control.
Yes, in Detroit. Well, let's go on here with Iran. Oh, we're also concerned about what's going on there. They now have enough low-enriched uranium to make nuclear weapons. Take a look at this. CIA chief warns Iran could have nukes ready by 2012. That's right around the corner. Leadership switch comes at critical time in war effort. All right, let's go on. The president versus the general. We all know what happened to General Stanley McChrystal. The president met with him. He did resign. It was very, very sad to see that happen. Going on, can we win in Afghanistan? Only if the military and civilian leadership start acting like they're fighting under the same flag. Can we win there? And then again, U.S. charges 11 in Russian spy case. We will talk about that one. And to admit Russian identities. Espionage is back on the front burner. There we see it. And Putin rips Russian spy bust. He has something very serious to say about that, and it did result in something we'll talk about in a moment. But how serious is this problem?